Q patriots around the world uniting. Qschqql, bringing the sauce through studying their daily Q codes, Q drops, deltas, Q proofs. Where we go on, we go all. Q patriots are friends, we are bring down the cabal. Sail on, sing it brown, Q worldwide. Where we go on, we go all. Niggas like coke cracks up at Qschqql. Bring the daily rap fire news, Q sauce. News unlocks the map, and with Qschqql patriots trust the chief plan. He's school worldwide, Qschqql patriots. Remember, we go on, we go all.
Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3763BN. Today's date is October 29th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Trump is using the shutdown for the midterms. Trump is cutting the deep state strings. Hey, you know what's interesting? You know, sometimes you buy a watch just to tell time, but this one tells a story. The Trump wristwatch, black steel band, bold, solid red face, it's sharp, it's strong, and it stands out. But more than that, every time you check the wear print or click those, you can see with the government shutdown, they are losing the people of this country. And think about what Trump and the Patriots are doing, and think about what the deep state, what they're doing. The deep state, they're trying to make it seem like the Republicans shut down the government. And they're trying to blame it on the Republicans, but you can see behind the scenes what they're really trying to do is they're trying to basically get the military, the National Guard, ICE, CBP. They want them all to abandon their posts so this way they don't deport the illegals. And they're hoping they can keep the shutdown going long enough that this actually happens, because they could see every other method that they have has not worked. And you could see at this point in time, this is why they have no problem making the people suffer in this country. Because remember, the people in this country, they're not their constituents. They want the illegals. They need to keep these people. Trump, I do believe what he's doing, he's using all of this against the deep state, against the Ds. And everyone, I think, realizes, and even CNN and many of the other fake news outlets, they're all out there saying, yes, it's the Democrats' fault. But think about why Trump is really doing this. Yes, he's blaming it on the Ds, but also he's exposing a lot of what they set up. And think about how Trump is now finding money to fund the military, to fund the National Guard, to fund certain parts of the government. And he's also said, listen, if SNAP runs out November 1st, and the Ds are out there saying, hey, let these people suffer. We need a little bit of pain. And Trump finds money to fund the SNAP program. Do the Ds lose these people? Are they going to be looking at Trump going, holy crap, look at this. The Ds just left us. That we were going to have no food, nothing. And Trump, he found a way to keep the SNAP program operational. I mean, think about what the Ds have done. They have given these people everything, and these people vote for them. Trump now is going to give them something, and are these people now going to switch over to the Republican Party? I'm not saying they're going to be Republican, or when the midterms come up, are they going to say, wait a minute, he's the one that helped us. They didn't help us. They said, let the people suffer. So I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they're using this against the Ds. And I think this is all revolves around the midterms. It revolves around the midterms in regards to what Trump needs to do. And it revolves around the midterms in what the Ds and the deep state players have to do. But in the end, I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they're going to win every single time. Because again, the deep state players, they don't have the leverage. They don't have the narrative. And every day they keep the government shut down, they're losing. And the people of this country, they see it very, very clearly. And I think everything that Trump does, he's showing the people the truth. And once people see the truth and they experience the truth, then they understand. And I do believe this will all be used against the deep state players later on. And think about it. Trump is going around the world right now making economic deals across the world. And he is basically establishing a new trading system. See, before we had the globalist trading system, the central bankers, the globalists, they ran it. Trump is now establishing a brand new trading system across the world, and the globalist system will no longer exist. And the new trading system consists of tariffs. It consists of economic deals with certain countries. And in the end, these leaders in these countries, they will be beholden to Trump because he made the economic deal with them. And yes, he will make their countries prosper. At the same time, they're making this country, the United States, prosper. So are these people going to go up against Trump? No, they're not. They have full respect for him. And as he does this, think about what he's doing. He's cutting the strings of the deep state players. That is what he's doing as he goes to every single country. And they're no longer beholden to the deep state players. Every step of the way, what Trump is doing, he's dismantling the entire system that the central bankers, the globalists, the deep state players have put into place. And you could see every step of the way, the deep state players are becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. And like we said before, it seems that the only thing they have left are two things. Riots, which I do believe they're going to be pushing before the midterms, because again, there's no way they're going to be able to stop what's going to happen during the midterms. I do believe the people are going to wake up and they're going to vote for the Republicans because, once again, the people are going to be using common sense. Plus, I do believe Trump has dismantled a lot of their rigging system, and it's going to make it very, very difficult for them to cheat in the elections. They will try in certain areas, of course, but I think overall, they're going to have a very, very difficult time, and they're not going to be able to get their people into place because once they lose the House, once they lose the Senate, they're in trouble now, but they're in deep trouble when this occurs. And you can see that this is what Trump now is doing. And eventually you're going to see that he will have all the leverage. You see, the name of the game is to weaken the enemy as best as possible and make sure that they have no ammunition that they can use against you. And I do believe this is why Trump is trying to flush them out right now and trying to push them to use their ammunition before all this happens, before we have accountability, before he goes after the Fed, before any of this. Because once you get rid of all of it, they're kind of screwed. So I do believe that he wants them to riot sooner than later, and he wants them to push war sooner or later so we can get these out of the way. And you could see that the deep state players, they're definitely building up the narrative for war. Zelensky is already out there saying that we're probably going to have war for 2 to 3 more years, maybe a little bit longer than that. And you can see the fake news, they're trying to build up the idea that Putin is going to continue the war and not stop it. So I do believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to get this off the ground. But I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they're leading them down this path, and this is all going to be used against them. Actually, it's going to boomerang on the deep state players in the end. And actually, Trump, as the peacemaker, he's going to usher in peace. Because think about it. He's making all these deals across the globe. I think he's already spoken to Putin, and now he's going to be speaking to Xi. So they know that there's going to be economic deals with the United States. Russia's going to have economic deals with the United States. Why would they want to go to war? They wouldn't. So I do believe this is how he's countering a lot of this. Because again, if they already realize, wait, we're going to make this much money, it's going to help our country, we're going to do these things, they will not want war whatsoever. The only people that want war are the criminals, the deep state players. They're the only ones, and the fake news, and yes, the D's in Congress, and all the other people, the agencies, they're the ones who want war because they're the criminals. Without the war, everyone can see everything that they have done. So I think every step of the way, you could see that the D's, they're being weakened and weakened and weakened because in the end, Trump is going to have all the leverage. This is when you attack your enemy in the end. This is when you can bring them to justice. This is when you can have accountability. You don't hit them when they're strong. You wait. You weaken them. And then when they have nothing left, that's when you go after them. And this is why Trump and the Patriots are going after Gavin Newsom Because remember, Gavin Newsom is attacking Trump in regards to the ballroom. And they're continually pushing the narrative that he's destroying the White House. No, he's beautifying it. And basically, he's going to make it better than it ever was before. And you have to remember, the entire ballroom is privately funded. No taxpayer is paying for this, compared to what's happening out in California, where they're building their new Capitol, and it's like $1.1 billion in renovation costs, and they're hiding where all this money is going. I think most of it's being laundered. But RNC Research put this out and said Gavin Newsom, who's very mad that President Trump is building a ballroom at no cost to the taxpayers, has no answer when asked about the secrecy around California's $1.1 billion Capitol renovation. Is that appropriate for the public to not know how much that really costs? Is it? Absolutely not. But again, you have to remember, they are the experts of money laundering. Think about it. The high-speed train, that's being built for how many years? 15 years or so? Anyone see the high-speed train? No. There is no high-speed train because all the money has been laundered. The same thing when all the money was going to help with forest fires, all the money that was going to help with producing water that can be used in the state. Basically, they launder all the money. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is we could see that every day the fake news continually puts out fake information in regards to the illegals. And every day, Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, and the rest, they have to basically debunk the fake news. So this is the latest story, NBC Bay Area. Federal agents arrest an undocumented father at his home in San Jose while he was on his way to work, his family said on Saturday. Well, Tricia McLaughlin corrected NBC News and says, of course, NBC News refuses to tell the American public that this illegal alien from Mexico has a rap sheet that includes lewd acts with a child, battery of a spouse, domestic battery, compensation for prostitution, felony reentry after removal. Sounds like a very nice, upstanding citizen in this country. Oh, by the way, he's not a citizen. He's an illegal and he's a criminal. So, yes, these people will be arrested. These people will be deported. And you can see the fake news, they like to keep these stories up. Here's another story. This is coming from Politico. Man deported to Laos despite court order blocking his removal. Homeland Security responded and said, to the media's chagrin, there was no mistake. This temporary restraining order was not served to ICE until after the criminal illegal alien was removed. So the criminal illegal alien with a rap sheet that includes conviction for assault and unlawful possession of a firearm had no right to be in this country. Following his heinous crime, he lost his green card, and an immigration judge ordered him to be removed in 2006. 20 years later, he tried a Hail Mary attempt to remain in our country by claiming he was a U.S. citizen. We know it's shocking to the media, but criminal illegal aliens lie all the time. Absolutely. And you can see they're continually pushing this fake information, trying to get the people to believe that ICE, CBP, they're going after citizens of this country. They're not. They're going after the illegals. They're going after the criminals. They're not going after the citizens. Now, if there's going to be a citizen of this country that is interfering with CBP or ICE, and they're obstructing what they're trying to do, or they're trying to hit them with a rock or firecracker, or actually fire shots at them, yeah, these people are going to be arrested. It's that simple. And this is what happens with citizens. They're not deported. They're arrested because they went after a law enforcement officer. Just like if there was the local police chasing a murderer and they interfered with that and they stopped the police from getting the murderer. You obstructed justice. So yes, that person would be arrested too. And you can see at this point in time, the stories from the fake news, they are not working whatsoever. Actually, it's making it worse for them every step of the way.
Because we are the news now.
This is why I do believe when everything starts to fall apart, I mean, really fall apart around them, and the crap hits the fan, and people start to see the main indictments and the arrests, I do believe this is when the deep state players will really push censorship. And what's very interesting is we're seeing more and more outages happen in this country and around the world. And users are now reporting outages
good,
at
Kyle.
Google, Amazon, AWS,
All right.
Microsoft, Azure.
All right. X22 report starting us off. Thank you all. Good to be back. We got October 30th, 2025, the Delta timestamp when Hillary Clinton was supposed to be arrested. That's why we got that title up there. We'll visit a little bit of that. Been telling some friends for a while. Don't think it's going to be not me this year, although we've also shown some other clips of her getting snatched up on live TV anyways. I think it's going to be at least maybe another year. That makes sense right before the 2026 midterms. But we'll show some other stuff on Hillary Clinton. We're going to cover the other daily news and stuff as well and kind of flow and see where everything goes. So,
yeah, kind of a mixed bag of stuff. How you guys doing? Hi, Melzie. Hi, Kyle. Nice to see you guys and everybody that's jumping into the chats right now and all the different platforms. Love, everybody. And special happy birthday wish out to brother Sean, our safety manager. Sean, I think his channel's open right now. They're having some fun celebrating his birthday. So one of our beautiful digital soldiers out there doing his beautiful thing, keeping voice chats open and live and lively morning, noon, and night. The guy's a machine. So happy birthday, Sean, from all of us to you, brother, watching and listening.
Happy birthday.
Yep.
Yes, happy birthday, Sean. I got to spend this morning with him, and we had a lot of fun talking about a lot of things. And different people came in and wished him well and told him their loves and played songs. And so we had a really good time. So we just thank you, Sean, for being you and doing what you do. Sean and on.
Sean and on.
Well, there is a real Sean and on. Actually, we interviewed the other Sean and on years ago on Qschqql. Remember Johnny Q and Sean and on from Seattle? Yeah, there's a beautiful Anon. He has his own show on Rumble too. I forget.
I love his show, actually.
Yeah, he's quite the Anon, quite the patriot. So Sean and on, hello out to you too. There's a couple of Seans, and there's more than a couple, obviously, but those are two that we've gotten to know over the years. But God bless you all. Thanks for your fight.
Doing wrong.
Yeah. So we got a number of things we're going to go through. There's 5 deltas today. There's actually shows 6 when you type in today's date, but one of them has the Hillary Clinton arrested October 30th in it, which is yesterday's delta. We read that one yesterday, actually, or the day before, I think it was, Kyle. We're into our 8-year deltas. There's 5 today. And there was an interesting match. Obviously, many people stayed up late last night, including yours truly, watching Steve Bannon on Real America's Voice when POTUS met Xi. And it was quite interesting. And I did a little decode. We're going to show you that today too. And they smacked a beautiful Q drop. It's that one that famously says, "What if Russia, China, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the NWO?" And that's Q drop 140. And wouldn't you know that they're meeting last night in where were they? They were in South Korea. That's where they both met, in South Korea. The meeting lasted 1 hour and 40 minutes. You can't make this up, you guys. So I watched the whole thing. Steve Bannon, like he said it 3 times. He says, "Yeah, I can't believe it, man. It was 1 hour and 40 minutes. He said it 3 times, and I went right to Q drop 140, and there it is. Sure enough, it says right in that Q drop. I don't know if you want to pull it up, Kyle. It's in Diggers. If you want to just scoot right in there, you'll see the one that I have yellow drawings on.
Yeah, so let me here's the one too from the Q Drop 0, the original Q Drop 0. Hillary Clinton will be arrested 7:45, 8:30 a.m. Monday morning, October 30th. It does say 2017 on here, but then the very next Q Drop 1, HRC extradition flagged effective 10:30 at 12:01 a.m. So we had that, and then we did all the 9 deltas yesterday of October 29th. Now the 30th, there's only 2, at least from the 2017, not sure about later, but Q drop 12, military intelligence reference above is the absolute biggest inside drop this board will ever receive. Now think about why Antifa plays right into the plan. Always ahead, good guys are winning. And then Q drop 13, look at this, October 30th.
Yes, sir.
Now think about the timing of POTUS traveling to China and South Korea. I've said too much, God bless Patriots. So those are all just more deltas that line up perfectly, incredibly. Now, Q drop 140, we said live, Tim said live while Trump and Putin were on the red carpet. In the moment right here, 140 here on 11/11/2017. So let's see, how long is this? I'll read this thing here. Let's just do it. Jump right into it here.
Look at that timestamp. Look at the 233 or the 233.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, 333 also, yeah, just interesting. And then Ooh, what was the one we did? We ended yesterday, Mel.
Yeah, the same one. What was it?
239, the Sam 239 one. Watch this. 239, and we'll keep 140 up there.
And Q drop 51, just for reference, is One Nation Under God, folks. Keep that in
And
mind.
that's signed by the White Hats. Look at this. 239, which we brought up yesterday. The Asia Foundation, Trump's on this Asia tour. And that's 1130 in there. So it's like plus 30 of the October 30th, right? And then 223, Qschqql anniversary with the 51 second on the time.
Oh my God. You're kidding with the 322 backwards thing near Skull and Bones. I did it on Skull and Bones this morning based on the video that you dropped, Melzie, on Spy Balloon when you were partying with Sean with Birthday Boy.
There's 51. So Constitution is 51, right? In the Q post. If you look up 51.
51 Constitution drops. Okay.
Yes. And I was thinking that you always say, Tim, the 51st state is Canada. Yep. So maybe there's something to that too, right?
Well, there's when does it become mathematically impossible, right? When no winky dinks as we call it. Yeah, interesting. We did that decode many months ago, and we're going to get back into those Constitution Q drops. Probably, I would think probably by the end of the year, this year, or at least in the first part of next year, as we get into 2026, getting closer to the midterm elections, because that's going to be a big one for all of us for sure. That's where big things.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at, baby. That's where it's at.
That's where we're heading. Yeah. And you can see Dave X22 report. God bless him and all the hard work he's doing. It's almost like every show now. Hey, Melzie, I know you're watching him more often now. I watch him daily. He's always bringing up the midterms. It's like it's going to be locked and loaded into everybody's subconscious mind. Looking ahead into the midterms, because that is when, as Q says, the timing is everything. Like I've always said, once the slate's cleaned and we the people take our power back, we start taking all these positions from the like as the military and the White Hats are taking it from the top down, we're gonna fill those positions from the bottom up. So local action equals national impact, right? So everybody's gonna get involved in those midterms. We've got some elections next week. You got the New York, New Jersey, and Virginia. Again, keep blasting out messages to your family, friends that live in those areas, and encourage them to get out and vote. Vote Republican. Let's go. We got to fill those. Yep.
All right.
Let's go. All right, I'm gonna do 140 here for us. All right, let's go to 140.
Pull up my drop on the wall because I marked it all off for you.
Okay.
You check out what I did on Diggers there, Kyle. You have to scroll up a little ways. You'll see it there.
So it will probably be shambles.
There's a couple videos we're going to watch too. I loaded you up there. There it is. That's what I was digging on. I think, was it last night or this morning? I can't remember now, but there it is.
Let me zoom in a little bit more this way.
So I highlighted it, and then thinking about what Steve Bannon was, because he showed the whole thing last night and was talking like about 2.5 hours worth last night. And he was the one that mentioned not once, not twice, but 3 times that the meeting lasted 1 hour and 40 minutes between POTUS and Xi from China.
Yeah. Interesting.
In South Korea, which matched today's Delta that Kyle just showed you.
Thanks, everyone, from wherever you're following to. Make sure you hit like if you're watching on Rumble or X. Reshare the lives out. Quite a few people keep popping in on YouTube. So thanks for joining our channel. It's Qschqql with all Q's instead of O's. Qschqql over on Melzie's YouTube channel there too. So make sure y'all hit like over there and send that out to somebody else. So you might be thinking, even that pops in your mind that may be interested in this, go ahead and send them live out. That'd be a big appreciation from us. We'd appreciate that. All right, so let's get into the Q drop 140 from November 11, 2017. Look at the PM. Look at that with the PM timestamp. There's another 11 in there, 11:33:51.
Another, yeah, 51.
Instead of 23. Yep. Okay. So wealth over generations buys power. Power over generations buys more wealth and control. More wealth and control buys countries and its people. Families combined, I don't know if it's the trilateral, it's kind of an interesting thing, equals NWO, okay, New World Order. Inner tri-families will collapse. What is the keystone? Okay, always double, triple meanings, but a keystone is also the last piece of an archway that you put in. And I think there's multiple, and then the Q drops allude to different things, but one of them certainly would be Jeffrey Epstein, right? That's an intelligence operation which is designed to blackmail people in royalty or world leaders, Hollywood, anyone of major influence or power is blackmailed and controlled to keep this whole thing working, right? So if Q team goes through and starts cutting these strings in a very strategical manner, and people start rolling over on each other, their structure, their power structure starts to crumble. Okay, so then the three sides of that thing too is also Washington, D.C. used to be on independent land, independent territory. That was the military industrial complex part of the triangle. London, the London banking aspect, in independent territory. That was the banking part of the triangle. And then the Vatican is like the spirit or the core. The Vatican's own private land and laws and everything like that as well. Okay, so inner tri-families will collapse. What is the keystone? Okay, what connects it all? What nation dominates all others? Obviously, United States. What nation has influence over most others? United States, right? What is the keystone? Now they ask it again. Makes me always think it's important, but also double meanings. Okay, so is the United States the keystone? There's going to be double meanings there. Return to SA. Okay, generally this is talking about Saudi Arabia in these early Q drops, but could there be other SAs? One we learned later on, not till like 2020, was Save America. Or did Trump start doing Save America 2024, I think? Either way, Save America came up for an SA. Sexual abuse and sexual assault, because that connects to the blackmail and stuff like that too. So anyways, return to SA. Strings cut, plus, plus, plus. Okay, plus, plus, plus is the House of Saud, one of that part of that pyramid as well too. But I also say plus, plus, plus means multiple things as well, right? So strings cut, plus, plus, plus. Puppets, plus, 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 plus in the shadows. Don't say plus, plus, plus too many times in a row. Start spitting all over. Each side of the triangle controls a certain subsect of power brokers. Okay, in particular to Saudi Arabia. Oh, this is interesting too. Back to like the sexual assault and stuff. Saudi Arabia is the major hub of human trafficking, also because they have those what do you call them, where you ship in stuff, right? These ports and stuff, and then there's so much money flowing through there. And then they also controlled social media. Okay, the big tech stuff. All right, each side of the triangle controls a certain subsect of power brokers. Power brokers are also labeled as the puppets and servants. What is the New World Order? Why did POTUS receive a sword dance when visiting Saudi Arabia? And he was in the dead center. Okay, what does this mean culturally? Of course, when he came back in this 2025 tour, it was a purple carpet rollout, which means like your royalty, your crown chakra, and then they also saluted him. All of the other military were saluting him. Tim pointed out yesterday that Trump also saluted I believe that was the Korean military as well. That was saluting him, and he saluted them back. What does this mean culturally? Again, the sword dance. If he's in the dead center, it's that he's the king. Whoa, no kings. Why is this relevant? What occurred in Saudi Arabia? Okay, major purge back in 2017. All the major billionaires were arrested. Bin Talal, Alaweed, and multiple others were all arrested and rounded up. How did POTUS remove one side of the pyramid? Basically doing that, I would say. What did POTUS receive while visiting China? And look at how these jobs coincide again quantumly. Okay, back in the day, back in 2017, he got invited into the Forbidden City, which is unheard of for a Westerner outsider to ever be invited into the Forbidden City. Now this year, it sounds like they had a a trade deal agreement, right? Either dropping the tariffs off of China, which also goes back to this too. What country, where'd it go? What nation has influence over most others? That's why the tariffs are so powerful for America to do them. One, because all of our former leaders sold out America, and we're weakening America over time, taking our wealth away, stealing it and sending it to other countries. I heard was it a video we're watching, like Somalia, like 1/4 of their GDP is money that's basically stolen from America and like funneled over there. 1/4 of a whole entire country's GDP comes from stolen money from the United States. And again, the United States basically holds up many other countries just because we have so much innovation, so much power and wealth coming out of America. But it's been, just think about this too, after the horrible incident in World War II, the nuclear bomb, nobody could ever attack America head on. But you think they didn't have enemies, especially as the CIA went around and destabilized all these countries? people still hated America. Well, they're not going to attack them head on. What are they going to do? They're going to infiltrate, right? JFK warned us that. He said, infiltration, not invasion. And this is what's basically happened economically, in addition to other ways, over decades now. And Trump's taken that back. And yes, we've had to take a little bit of the sting by having higher prices a little bit for this first year. But in the grand scheme of things, they really haven't gone up that much. And all this wealth is coming in, and everything's going to destabilize back around, because the American dollar has so much influence over others. That's why these tariffs are so powerful enough to create peace on earth. Again, Trump is creating peace on earth through economy instead of creating wars. Okay. Hope you guys understand how that works. All right. What occurred? Let's see. Where did I go?
Well, especially because that's a big part of where the cabal had its tentacles and everything with fraud. And so that had to be kind of retaken back and flipped, right? So that the money that was using for the fraudulent things was, taken a hold of and confiscated, and then, redistributed, I think, is that the next part that's coming. So that's the interesting thing. So go ahead. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You
Good
want me to
job,
read?
Bill. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Where were we here? So, okay. How did POTUS remove one side of the pyramid? All right. We just saw that with the mass arrests. What did POTUS receive while visiting China? It is kind of odd. I mean, he received again, an offer to, what do you call it? Go in the Forbidden City. I almost wonder if he received something else, maybe something we don't know about, or maybe it was announced and I've just never heard it. If anybody wants to dig on that, just put that in. What did POTUS receive while visiting China? And maybe again, we'll find out, what did he receive on this most recent trip? I haven't really done any research on it. And, Tim was listening to the speech. Maybe we can add anything else on there. Where did POTUS dine? Again, that was the Forbidden City. What is the significance? I think is what that is. What is that significance? I'm not quite sure. It's obviously a pretty big deal because, again, no Westerner has ever really been invited there before. Okay, and then here's the drop. And I almost want to find our old episode because Tim says this right on the spot, right at 11:11. What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order? All right, and then his circling kind of chopped over a little bit. What's it say? Why did POTUS receive a sword dance when visiting Saudi Arabia? Is that next line there? Oh, no, that's not it. Where'd it go? I'm trying to go at 140 here. One side of the pyramid. Okay. Who controls North Korea is that next line. Excuse me, guys. So what if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order? Who controls North Korea? All right, you'd think Kim Jong-un. Who really controls North Korea? Well, it's actually the CIA. North Korea was always set up as a proxy war person instead of China. Again, you can't have this massive war against America and China, but you can have this little independent area, North Korea. It's all cut off. It's totally cut off from everything. They have their own internet, it's totally isolated, so they can mind program the people in the country, and then they can also spread whatever stories about North Korea to the rest of the world. And then they're this proxy, again, person to have these wars or hold the president of the United States hostage with the threat of nuclear war. Okay, so who really controls? Now it's the White Hats, of course. Who controls several agencies within the United States, European Union, and abroad? Interesting, though, I would think, again, maybe CIA there, but it goes right here. Why is no such agency so vital? Now, there is multiple of those, but the one seem to be referencing here would be the NSA, the National Security Agency. No such agency. Enormous scale of events currently ongoing. Why is Russia helping to kill ISIS? This is not easy to accept nor believe. Crumbs make bread. That's these drops in the story that Q is telling us here. Operations active. Joint missions underway. And that was also the whole point of this part of the Dash operation, 45-47, is we had to get all this evil human trafficking biolabs cleaned up out of Ukraine. But Trump couldn't go in there and do that under his term. That's how beautiful this plan is for everyone to awaken and see how horrible the Biden administration would be, but then go into war. And then it's Russia dealing with all that. And of course, our American troops would be in there doing other special operations, but it's keeps Trump's hands clean of it. And then he's going to come in and save the day. And in that war, when we've all rooted out all the human trafficking, the tunnels there, so many tunnels in Ukraine, among a million other places, human trafficking, plus. Okay. Why is Russia helping to kill ISIS? This is not easy to accept nor believe. Crumbs make bread. Operations active. Joint missions underway. The world is fighting back, okay, because the cabal is everywhere, all over the world, guys. Every single country has been held down and kept in poverty and in need by the bankers and this cabal 13 bloodline family system, okay? Refer back to Graphic, The Great Awakening, Snow White, Iron Eagle, Jason Bourne, 2016 CIA Dream, The Deep Dream. That's also Twitter, is what that is. Also, Jason Bourne, Super Soldier stuff. I don't know why it says 2016. Maybe that's when the movie came out. Anyways, there's QJob 140 for you. So that's a doozy. That's a big one. So again, the meeting with China with President Xi lasted an hour and 40 minutes, and this is QJob 140 on 11/11. And again, the key part here is, what if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the NWO? And all of a sudden we have this trade agreement with China, and all these other things are falling into place perfectly if you've been reading the Q Jobs and watching this plan unfold. What do you think, Tim?
Oh, I love it. I just love the way it all falls into place and how quantum the Q drops are and how news is unlocking the map. Again, we keep showing it almost on a daily basis how the news unlocks the map. And speaking of the news that ties to that Q drop, I just posted on the bottom of Diggers for you, Kyle. I see what Melzie dropped too. Another 51 there, 51 Tomahawks, I think it is. And that
Yes, if you could pull that up, it kind of ties into what we just talked about too. Like, I can't believe I found that. But
he truthed that last night, Melzie, just before going into that 1 hour and 40-minute meeting. He
wow.
before.
Okay, so don't let me miss this other stuff that we got up there. I can scroll up and find it too.
Yeah, we'll go back to it. Yeah. I got Glenn live today. There it is there, Kyle.
Okay, so Praying Medic, I saw he's back on YouTube. Also, some other people are getting back on YouTube.
That's how I started my journey, listening to Praying Medic back in the beginning when I found out about Q.
I remember Praying Medic too.
Yeah.
POTUS is very well grounded. So, keeps it, again, grounded information about the Q jobs and stuff. It never got too crazy on anything, and had a nice, peaceful voice for people too.
He did that Beginners for Q. I remember going through that at the beginning, Beginners for Q, and he really broke it down in a very simple form, which I related a lot to it. So,
yeah. Nice. POTUS orders the Department of War to begin testing nuclear weapons on an equal basis, wherever that is, starting immediately. And then this is Trump's True Social here. Let me actually do it this way so I can zoom in more. Here we go. Okay, United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country, I think almost combined, basically. This was accomplished, including a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office. Because of the tremendous destructive power, I hated to do it, but had no choice. Russia is second, and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years, so they're saying China. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. So that was on the 29th there. That was yesterday in the evening. All right, and then let's see.
Just read down what he says right there, because that's kind of what's interesting.
Trump always manages to make a dramatic move when he meets with President Xi. During their first meeting at Mar-a-Lago, Trump launched 51 Tomahawk missiles at a base in Syria, literally as they were having chocolate cake. Tonight, on the way to meet Xi, he announced the immediate increase of nuclear weapons testing. Show of strength there. Peace through strength. And then there's, again, the 51. So maybe we'll show QDrop 51 since we've had a couple references to it. Also, right on. Okay, anything else, guys? Or we'll go to QDrop 51.
I'm going to dig up a clip on that back. I'm going to take us back when Xi and Trump were at Mar-a-Lago and they were eating the chocolate cake. I'm going to
okay.
All right.
I've never seen that. Yeah, so I'll do QDrop 51 while Tim's digging that one up here. So this is will be at Delta in a couple days, November 2nd, 2017. One nation under God. Beautiful picture there. And then this is the Anon, quote unquote Anon. I've watched as society has been effectively addicted to mainstream media, apps, social media, games, music, and all propaganda. And the moment you try to open anyone's eyes, you are shunned. Being dumbed down, weakened, and groomed for passivity and stupidity through food and their addictions, like calves literally being fattened for a slaughter. And with all the race war propaganda and Pizzagate possibility, I became suicidal because I can't stand that no one will open their eyes and are being manipulated hard. I hope with all my heart that Trump is going to make good on his promise to make America great again and clean the swamp. I've been thinking about joining the Navy for Corpsman Greenside, and I would love to serve under a Trump administration if he really does clean swamp. We'll try to join regardless. No openings for corpsman right now, though. I hope that what OP Anon says is true. This is before Q Drop 61. So OP means original poster. Okay, OP Anon says it's true. I will be praying for OP Anon and all who risk their lives, but we don't see this OP Anon term anywhere in at least the drops that Q responds to or Q themselves ever mention this. So this is the first time we see this OP Anon on Q Drop 51. Simple English gematria, O is 15, P is 16, so that's 31. Okay, keep that in mind. OP Anon says it's true. I will be praying for OP Anon and all who risk their lives for safety and that the Lord will guide them, and praying that what he says is true, and will be praying for the spiritual edification of God for Trump and for this complete safety and for his complete safety in all this. The pieces are coming together for me, and if this is true, those working with him are the absolute geniuses, because I would have never imagined there would be any way possible to take the monster of corruption that has overtaken this country. So then Q responds here. What's the time they responded to on this one? I feel like there's something important with that. 6 minutes and 3 seconds, or 363 seconds. Okay. Excuse me here. 51. So Q responds now.
Wait, it
Q
was
drop-
at 6:03. So if you did 6:3 and you reversed it, it'd be 93. Mirrored
Okay.
it.
All right. And then 363 on the seconds there too. So, dear Patriot, we hear you. We hear all Americans such as yourself. The time has come to take back our great land. The time is now. Rest assured, POTUS is backed by the absolute finest people alive, who are all dedicated to the eradication of evil. I'm supposed to be in there, of evil and corruption from the United States and world. Find peace. God is with us. God bless and be safe. The White Hats. And by the way, White Hats, W is 23 and H is 8. Simple gematria. So WH is 31. OP is 31. So interesting connections there. The White Hats, Q Drop. God bless this nation, or one nation under God, excuse me. There it is, that beautiful picture. So that's Q Drop 51. So 51 Tomahawks, some other comms there referencing that as well.
Nice.
Okay, so Tim's digging in the background. Anything to add? I got just a second.
Yep. I got one video clip for you. Yeah, if he's got to go wipe his nose there, but I did drop one of the video clips. I'm looking for the one that shows the actual cake, but I got the one where Trump's talking about it when he drops the 51 missiles.
Okay. I was wondering if there was any like connection to chocolate cake, like if why chocolate cake, but anyways, I'm sure that there's a meaning, because like when we saw yesterday with the SAM 239 that they turned around in Indiana, and Pence was the governor of Indiana. So I think that they do have meanings, very significant meanings for some of the things that they do. Do you want me to go ahead, Kyle, and share that, or do you want to? Are you ready to bring it up?
Oh, what you got?
Okay, so on the bottom of Diggers, we have Trump told about the cake thing.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's check out. Let's see what the gematria is on that.
The chocolate cake. I'm curious.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while, so let's do that real quick. So gematria.
Maybe eat while eating chocolate cake.
Okay, we'll do them all. Let's try. I like to see
Chocolate
even just
cake first, maybe.
Yeah, I like to just even all the words. So hopefully I spell how do we spell chocolate? Shit.
So,
How you spell it?
CHOCOLATE.
Okay, chocolate. That's it. That's it right there. So 82. Cake. All right. So look at reduction for you.
What is just cake?
Cake is 20.
Okay.
Cake is 20. Chocolate cake. And then what'd you say while
I see
eating?
it down there. Yeah, while eating chocolate cake. That's what he said.
Okay. 215. 107 on the reduction. Okay. Eating 56. While 57. So what's that? 113. Ooh, that while eating is 113 then.
All right.
113 right there. Okay. So now what you got on the dig there?
We need them. Let's go to that video of
Where's that at? Diggers?
That's on the bottom of Diggers. Yep.
So this YouTube video here. second, guys. Let me get this ready over here. Boom, bing, bing.
Back, which is a very good sign. But I think China can help us. I hope China can help us. We talked about trade, and I can tell you China will do much better on trade if they help us with North Korea.
And you think he knows that?
I think he knows that. I told him that, yeah.
When you were with the president of China, you're launching these military strikes. Was that planned? How did that come about that it's happening right then? Because right there you're saying, a reminder, here's who the superpower in the world is.
You have no idea how many people want to hear the answer to this. I have watched speculation for 3 days now on what that was like.
When did you tell him?
But I'll tell you.
Before dessert?
But I will tell you. Only because you've treated me so good for so long, I have to tell you, right? I was sitting at the table. We had finished dinner. We're now having dessert. And we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen. And President Xi was enjoying it. And I was given the message from the generals that the ships are locked and loaded. What do you do? And we made a determination to do it. So the missiles were on the way. And I said, Mr. President, let me explain something to you. This is during dessert. We've just fired 59 missiles, all of which hit, by the way, unbelievable, from hundreds of miles away, all of which hit. Amazing.
Unmanned. Brilliant.
It's so incredible. It's brilliant. It's genius. Our technology, our equipment is better than anybody by a factor of 5. I mean, what we have in terms of technology, nobody.
Oops.
All right.
Interesting. He said 59 in that one, Melzie. So the 50, I know we read the 51, but he mentioned 59 in that one too.
Well, what I thought was interesting about that, so he's having, dessert, right? This is when everybody relaxes in a meal. It's over. Their stomachs are full. And then he lays it down. He gets locked and loaded, and he gives them the go ahead, right? And then he turns to the other head of the world, like one of the most powerful countries in the world, and he says, yeah, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. He shows his power really kind of when he thinks he's going to be relaxed, right? That is a power move, I'd say.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And when he posted when he truth that one that we just read, he did that before they walked into the meeting together last night. So almost like a repeat of 8 years ago.
And you remember when Putin was meeting with him?
Putin, same thing.
And yeah, he did the same thing. He dive bombed him, and Putin's
with the B-2 bombers, the flyover.
B-2 bomber.
He's like, "Oh, it's okay, buddy. Come on over here. We got you." Check, baby.
Let's want to show that. Let's check out Qschqql 59 though.
Yeah, check out 59. But think of the optics of this too. So, what if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the total cabal, right? The psychopaths that we talk about here in Qschqql on a daily basis. They're playing like the optics are beautiful because the deep state is going, well, like it looks like they're fighting each other. They're not getting along, like they're doing this and they're not doing this, but it's all optics, right? It's moves and counter moves. You get what did we read yesterday, Kyle? Remember we were talking about knowing your enemy. If you know your enemy and you know yourself, the game is over, the war is over before it began, kind of thing. So this is what we're watching is the optics of this playing out. And how they're cornering the psychopaths, the globalist psychopaths around the world and taking them all down. It's pretty fascinating.
Super fascinating. All right, look at this. Oh, I got it. Even on the spot. We got to do this. We got to do this for a second. Again, Qschqql 140 is on 11/11. On 11/11, and then it gets even crazier because the Air Force One's flight call sign was like 23. I'll figure out the number, which is the actual drop where it says Trump meeting Putin 11.11. So let's go a little quick blast from the past for just a second here.
Look at the boss and the bear. The boss and the bear. The boss and the bear. That could be the B-2 bomber too. The boss and the bear.
Oh, boss and the bear.
He makes Putin come to him all the way.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that too. Power move, exactly. He was already there waiting for him. He made him come to him. Well, I'm going to show the 48 laws of power also after this. And then same thing. He's walking casually by as the planes fly over. All right, so these are other different power moves. Pay attention to the timestamp, guys. We're just gonna let it play. The second Tim says Q, let me familiarize with a Q drop. It goes 11:11 Alaska time, which would be 3:11 Eastern, which is 11:3 mirrored, right? Eastern time.
Just hold up 1 second too, because he has his hand drawn into him. You see?
Yeah,
He's
he pulled
pulling
him in.
and then he's got his hand on his shoulder too, kind of like, that's a dominance move. Like, I'm in control here. I've got everything. It's good to see you. But it's more than just, he's in control here. He's totally showing that Putin that he has where's Putin's other hand? It's not Pat and Trump.
Right.
Yep.
Well said, Mel. I'm going to back up a tiny bit just to show that as well. Again, Trump is in this spot. Somebody broke this down pretty well earlier, too. He's in the spot already. He waits for Putin to come to him, and then he even pulls him in with the handshake. And then little extra interesting part about this little whole thing is, why does he salute randomly on this walk? Listen to what we're saying live, especially if you talk about that missile launch thing where two people have to turn a key simultaneously. Tim says, here we go. And then right when I say, here we go, Trump starts his salute. And then I finished my explanation, and he cuts his salute. I have no idea why he's saluting here. Something really strange, so I'll just let y'all watch it and make your own decisions.
That could be the B-2 bomber too. BB, the boss and the bear.
Ooh, boss and the bear. Nice one.
I like it.
Definitely a size discrepancy. I don't know if it's always been like that. With Diggers, what's Putin's height supposed to be? Yeah, Qschqql chills is right.
Yeah. Thanks, Jetty. Here we go.
Here we go. Not quite the same. It kind of reminds me of when Trump, was beating Kim Jong-un, kind of a
why
big
did
deal.
he salute right there?
Wow.
That's interesting. Why did he
Lots
do
of time.
that?
And let me just familiarize with a Q drop that says, "What if China, Russia, and POTUS are working to eliminate the NWO?" Keep that in the back of your minds.
The jet's flying by.
He's like, we got you. It's okay.
Oh, I can hear the jets. Oh! I don't know. I got the noise cancellation on. You probably can't hear it. Here they come. Oh, we got a double flyover. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Double flyover for you. You guys might be a little confused because we were narrating over the top of that a little bit. Well, Mel's adding some really good stuff there. But Tim, live in the moment, said, let me familiarize everybody with the Q drop. He's mentioning Q drop 140, which was on 11/11. And now let me find the actual Q drop 2, which it says beating Putin. Because, we got to do Q drop 59 here. Let me do one more tab, though, so I don't lose that one. So Q drop, you just go 11.11. There's actually a few in here. 5 different drops with 11.11. But the main one is right here. And this was what the call sign was. This was what the call sign was on the Air Force One that day. It was 2396 on this day, right? When that red carpet rollout happened. And look at the date. It's 11/3 also. I got chills everywhere. The flyover was at 3:11 Eastern time, but Alaska time, local Alaska time where I was, they literally flew over me right afterwards. POTUS meeting Putin on 11.11. Now, what are the odds of that?
My! And that's incredible,
right? And then Tim, literally, if you see it again, like as soon as he says, "Let me familiarize all with the Q drop," Tim is saying Q drop 140, which was on Q drop 140 is on 11/11, and Tim said that line right here. He said, "Let me familiarize. What if where'd it go? What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the NWO?" And then the Russian special envoy guy, who's been dropping other like nods to Q, dropped this exact drop. He did this part right here. It was actually even only like highlighted this part, like he was using QAG. There's a search. I think he just searched China. It says, "What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the NWO?" And this was on 11/11 in the Q drops.
Wow.
Right? Crazy.
What a time. What a time to be alive, guys, gals.
Yeah.
What a time.
So let's do. Let me show Q drop 59 since I guess I didn't hear him say that. He actually said 59 on the chocolate cake thing. You guys said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said 59 missiles.
Yeah. So maybe. So let's check this out. Put us on the side on this one, Mel, if you can.
It's a hard 17 time drop in this one, I believe.
8,
Oh, look
9.
at
Yep.
17 there. I'm sorry. I
got
got lost.
I got it. Oh, I got it. Okay, so yeah, what Tim's saying there, it's a Q timestamp, military time, right? So on Q alerts, this would be 5:04:05, but 17. It's basically a double 17 or triple if you got 2017 in here, 17. But 1 + 7 is 8, + 4 is 12, + 5 is 17. So add up all the numbers, there's another 17. Ooh, look at it here. ID also has a 17. KC, K is 11, C is 3. There's 11.3 in there.
Yeah.
And SPZ, isn't that like Sputnik or like the Russian space program? It makes me think of that there for a second. SS. So let's read QDrop 59. How did Saudi Arabia welcome POTUS during his trip? This is crazy. I was just mentioning, okay, the first time they had the red carpet rollout, he did the sword dance in 2017. Fast forward to the quantum aspect of the QDrop, Trump's version 2, admin version 2, when he visited Saudi Arabia, he had the purple carpet rollout. The royalty, all of the military is saluting him. He secured like $3 trillion in investments. He also lifted the sanctions off of Syria, which doubled the value of their money, literally doubled the value of Syria's money overnight by lifting the sanctions. So he brought Syria all this wealth just by doing that. And then what's his good buddy, bin Salman, was almost basically in tears seeing how the plan is developing and his good relationship with Trump, since Trump saved his life.
Not to mention he saved his life in Vegas. Yeah.
Saved his life in Vegas.
And
Absolutely.
remember when Trump was walking behind him and he patted him on the shoulder? You never touch the king, right?
Oh, right. Yep.
And
I have a
came
good video of
out-
that too. Tapped him. You're not even supposed to touch
He's
him
like,
at all.
Yeah, he's never supposed to. He just was like, "Oh, it's okay, dude. Yeah, no."
Another
then-
power move. Another
and then
power move.
He came out to the tarmac to meet Trump when he was there, when Trump and Melania came.
Right.
And that the prince never does that. He never goes to the
Right.
tarmac.
He's the one getting visited. Yeah, interesting. Great points, Mel. Again, the power plays. I want to show the 48 laws of power a little later too when we get a chance also, because they're definitely following this kind of stuff also.
And this ties into Q drop 140 that we just read earlier.
It really kind of does, I think. And I haven't seen the whole thing yet. So Tim's looked ahead here. And 5/9, my birthday, 5th day, 9th month too. So interesting connections here with the 1717, which 17 plus 17 plus 17 is 51 also, or Q plus plus. How did Saudi Arabia welcome POTUS during his trip? I just explained that. Why was this historic and not covered by the mainstream media? Because that's what they do. They don't cover the truth. They got to spin their narrative. How did Saudi Arabia welcome Barack Obama during his trip? I don't think they definitely did a red carpet rollout. I've never seen a big dig on this, but they certainly didn't treat him the same way. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. How did Saudi Arabia welcome Hillary Rodham Clinton during her trip? Which trip was this? I'm not quite sure. I don't know the answer, but probably, again, definitely wasn't a red carpet rollout. Why is this relevant? Again, showing who's really in control and which side Saudi Arabia is on now. Not suggesting Saudi Arabia is clean by any means, but they play a role in this global game of risk. Interesting. Risk is all capitals. I kind of want to look at that just for a second. Anytime I see all capitals letters in the Q drops, look at that. While eating 11.3 and then reduction 59. We're on Q drop 59 right now, which is crazy. But let's see. Risk is 57. We should look at and then look at reverse 51. So, okay. Interesting little
Reverse 51. Yeah. Interesting.
33 on the end there.
33. Okay. Combine all posts and analyze. The questions provide answers. Okay. I've talked about that Qschqql method. Even the next question basically answers the other question, or it leads you to get to that answer, which is how you should also help your friends and family wake up, by asking questions. Lead the horse to water by asking questions, because the brain has to answer, as opposed to telling them certain things. Again, not our job to wake people up, but we should plant the seeds. The best way you can plant a seed is by asking a question. Right?
But people do have questions, and that's what does get them thinking. That's what we want is to get them thinking, and not, believe in what I believe, because they're probably not going to believe what I believe.
Yeah, well said. Especially your crazy ass mind.
Yeah, exactly.
The questions provide answers. Remember, information is everything. The flow of information no longer controlled by the fake news, mainstream media, but by you and others. Shout out, guys. We are the news now. We know that. Hence why we are dedicating critical time to distribute crumbs, which can be followed in great detail to paint the entire picture once more information is released. And that's happening more than ever now, guys, right? Why has POTUS dedicated so much time into labeling the mainstream media as fake news? Okay, that was his primary mission, was to discredit them and break that mind control that the mainstream media had over the public. He's obviously been successful when 97% of the mainstream media is attacking Trump, and then he still wins by a massive landslide in 2024. Okay, why is this relevant? We are fully prepared that all social medias will shut down to prevent the spread of information, i.e., POTUS's Twitter, etc., and/or mass censoring, and all the anons have experienced this in one way or another. Sealed federal orders pre-submitted as prevention and masked as in general, though that does not account for rogue agents and programmers within. That was a Q proof also, as a rogue programmer took down Trump's Twitter for a few minutes. Dates, impending actions are deliberately provided for authenticity. Okay. And then they also use misdirection and think mirror on stuff. 11.3, Podesta's lobbyist firm does shut down, but really then we find out years later 11.3 is actually the law of war manual. Okay. And then it ends with Alice in Wonderland, because we're not on QDrop 61 yet. So no Q signatures yet for posts.
So I heard that Alice was HRC and Wonderland was Saudi Arabia.
Yep, the Bloody Wonderland is Saudi Arabia.
Isn't that interesting? What does HRC have to do? What is her relationship with Saudi Arabia?
Right, and I think this is just major human trafficking hub also, and then they actually call her Alice in some of the emails. So the emails that have been released, or like the WikiLeaks emails,
that makes
email
sense.
is referenced as Alice, and there's also a person that goes by the name of Hatter. So there's those connections also.
So if Alice is HRC, and let's say is maybe like it is like going down the rabbit hole, and it's awful human trafficking, that's like, think about having that, the chance, having Trump come in and saying they were going to assassinate you. Here, would you like to get rid of this and start new and have this beautiful plan forward in life? Can't you see like POTUS working behind channels and doing something like that? And then you can see there's rapport between them. Like, he loves Trump. So if he didn't just save his life, I think he gave him a new life, like a new hope. So, yeah, it's interesting that that's there. And think about being tied, having your country tied to Alice, to having it tied to HRC. That would be some sucky do stuff.
Sucky do indeed. Yeah, for sure. And
as we talk about HRC today and POTUS working behind the scenes, it's kind of interesting. We didn't plan that, but there it is.
Right. There it is. Always comes full circle when we just go with the flow.
I had another thought too while we were going through. What is the first Q post? Is it 61?
The one with the Q signature. Yeah, we can show that.
Just listen a second. Okay. So what is 61? How many days did we have to wait in the shutdown?
61. Wow. Yeah. 61, and then it can be permanent, letting these people go, for sure.
Because I thought there has to be a meaning for Q to have the first Q, right? Yep. And I would think they would do 17 or something like that, 117, like for us retarded ones. Yeah. But yeah.
There's some interesting stuff with 61 also, is QAnon comes out to 61. Simple English gematria. And then also, though, U, because we are Q, you are Q, U comes out to 61. So that's a pretty cool one I also like to show there. Just why it's on my thought here, the Hatter and Alice in Wonderland. So in our top secret programs, they've always they use, again, terminology like this, that it's kind of like they laugh at how insane that what they're working on and the public has no idea about. And they use references to different movies and stuff like that or whatnot. So Alice in Wonderland is a common theme in the top secret programs and stuff. There's even a rabbit when you entered like the S4 base, which is what working on these advanced craft. And S4 is like a base out in Nevada there near Area 51. That there was a rabbit at the beginning, a white rabbit.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I
with a
have
watch.
that somewhere. I
Okay.
just
Yeah. Because that's Project Looking Glass stuff also. And then what else? But the Hatter, the reason where the term Hatter came from is when people were working on hats back in the day, is they used a lot of this glue and steam and stuff, and they actually were inhaling it and getting really high, and would actually be like insane and stuff. So the Mad Hatter, that's where that term comes from. But it makes me think if these again HRC, maybe that's like an adrenochrome type reference as well too. When they get high on that stuff and then lose their mind or whatever. So anyway, it's kind of dark in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But let me show Let me show 59 to 61 since Mel was talking about that. So 59 we just read, and then Q drop 61. So here's what it looks like. So I just read this one. How did Saudi Arabia welcome POTUS during his trip? Why is this big gap in here? Okay, combined, we just read 59. It ends with Alice in Wonderland. That's, I would call a signature. Alice in Wonderland signature 59. Q drop 60. You can count the people who have the full picture on two hands. Of those, less than 10 people, only 3 are non-military. Why is this relevant? Game theory. Outside of a potential operator who's been dialed in with his orders specific to his or her mission, nobody else has this information. Operators never divulge. Alice in Wonderland, another Alice in Wonderland signature. All right, we have a great dig when you search less than 10 on the keyboard. Let me just do it actually right now while we're here. I'll come right back to this. So we're going to go put less than 10 in the search. And a shout out to Tim17 finding this year's back. Less than 10, exactly 9 drops. So we know they're not talking about Q team. They're talking about codes and unlocking, because they would never give us that information. So many anons do reference this though. So, but you get the idea. It's a top secret team, but we would never just give out this information willingly. And Q confirms that in the same post by saying operators never divulge. But then we finally get to Q drop 61. These are all, looks like all these are on November 2nd, by the way.
Do you know what Quan Cult used to say? He'd say, "Anon, stay anonymous." Anon,
Stay anonymous.
Yep.
Yeah, anybody claiming they have top secret information or knows a date, they're full of shit. I just keep telling people that. There's still people like, oh, this person said this is going to happen on December 21st. They're full of shit. Nobody fucking knows. It's that simple, bro. Like, we're not going to tell the enemy our fucking plans. Holy goodness. All right? Hope you figured it out by now. And now you use that as radar. Just listen and watch people. People claim they have this insider information. Just say, that's interesting. Stop following them, I would recommend. But watch them fall flat on their face. Watch how well they navigate when that date doesn't happen. They just transition right on to the next bullshit. People are like, oh, here comes the next thing. No, these fucking people don't know shit, okay? If you think you know shit, you ain't know shit, all right? So, I'll go off the rails a little bit. Q drop 61. Please refer back and collect my crumbs. Let's see this timestamp here. 1907. Something standing out to me on this one. 63 and 19.
That's 7:07.
7:07 on PM standard
And
time.
it's 45 reversed.
45 reversed. Good one.
54:45. 7:07.
Okay, so please refer back and collect my crumbs. And by the way, too, all these 11.2 dates are November 2nd. It starts on 2017, so all of them actually have 11/22.
It's 11/22. Oh my gosh.
This is the day of White Hat operation of JFK assassination attempt. Okay, 11/2. Please refer back and collect my crumbs. As discussed, we've anticipated the Twitter and other social media blackouts, rogue agents and programmers. Per sealed federal orders, we quickly tracked and reinstated. Expect outages periodically, infiltrated. If this doesn't signal what I've been saying, I don't know what will. Q, first Q signature right there. There you go. All right. So where are we going to go to next now, friends? We got more stuff in Diggers, I'm sure. I got to put my name
I do. Yeah, there's more in Diggers, and then we can have about a 10-minute Badlands Devolution clip. You'd have to go to the Badlands, obviously the Rumble channel, and we'll pull up their Devolution show from last night. And they're talking about like the most recent news about Arctic ice and the auto pen. You're gonna see John Solomon on Hannity last night. And they're both in the Q drops. Just saying.
Okay. My friend on Instagram said a week to remember 159. I'm assuming that's a gematria that comes out too. Let's check that out. A week to remember. Yep, 159. Thank you for that. Lois over there on Instagram. Appreciate you guys. Okay, where do you want me to go now, Tim?
Here, Cindy, just hold up a second. Cindy's asking, why then did folks talk about today, 30th HRC?
So that was from the very first Q drops we kind of showed early on in the beginning there. So we'll go back to the
just quickly go over it.
Yep. So here's Q drop 0. Okay, this random anon at 3:33. Hillary Clinton will be arrested 7:45 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday, October 30th. Let's see what day does October 30th fall on the 2026. That would be interesting. Again, we definitely is not going to happen this year. Some people, again, still in our community, were thinking it was going to happen this year.
You guys, what if she was arrested at that time? And we'll find that out maybe at a different
time later. We've, of course, showed the other video from 9/11, 2016, so way, way prior. And also this connects to the Q clock, though, because by putting this date on here like this, if you go backwards, allegedly on the Q clock, lands on September 11th, 2016 also. So, again, they're never going to – we'd never tell them – we would never say this. You're never going to say when you're going to arrest a high-profile person. That's why it's just silly to me. Okay, but anyways, that and then Q drop 1. This one doesn't say the year. HRC extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. So why would they announce it when they, this was the misdirection? Q confirms this. They had people thinking maybe this would happen, especially not necessarily Hillary, but other people. And then all of a sudden we do the arrest in Saudi Arabia and totally shocked them. They didn't think we would go right for the head of the snake. Okay, passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30 at 12:01 a.m. We also showed that executive order on 12/21. Executive Order 13818, it went into effect at 12:01 a.m. Let me just show that real quick in case you guys missed that. Executive Order 13818. Okay, this is a huge one, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Okay, it was signed 12/20/2017, but it didn't go actually in effect until on the bottom here. Let me get there. There it is. Section 12. This order is effective at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12/21/2017. So there's another connection with that one. But back here,
takes it all away.
Take it away. 12/21. Take it away. Epstein Island burns away. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. United States Marines will conduct the operation while National Guard activated. Proof check, locate a National Guard member and ask if activated for duty. 10:30 across most major cities. Let's find out what day October 30th falls on 2026. That would be interesting to me for sure.
I'm dropping the calculator into Diggers right now if you want to pull it up live. The last time a Monday hit was 2017, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
So it does coordinate with that Q drop.
Ooh, Mel found the white rabbit. I want to show this one real quick. The first thing I saw, I'm squirreling for a second. Don't let me miss what you just said there, Tim. This is This is what's cool. I'd like to do a whole show on this. When 2020 happened, a lot of you guys were waking up, but anybody that had been in the movement, there was so much happening with different celebrities. We're acting very strange. Tom Hanks, right, is doing this coded stuff. He's using a Corona typewriter, and then he gives this little video synopsis with his wife. And everybody sees up above, he's got this metal door frame and there's a barcode there. Basically, everybody that's been in the military is like, that's a military, room. So basically, it seemed like they were under some kind of arrest, this operation playing out behind the scenes, right? Then this is in a military base in Australia, right around the same time, which again, Tom Hanks was in Australia with his wife. This is at the same exact place. And you see right over the guy's shoulder here is the white rabbit. Follow the white rabbit. He's got a red egg and a red egg and a blue egg, like the red pill, blue pill. All right. So this is like follow the white rabbit. Here's the military base in Australia. Let's see how he says.
Commissary, for now, I want to do an update to you guys in front of this giant bunny because I've never done that before. So let's start off with the numbers. Right now, we got 3 folks in quarantine. There are some positive cases up in the tri-border area. We're tracking about 8 up in the Geilenkirchen region. They're being taken care of by medical professionals. They've been put away from the rest of us so that we won't cross-contaminate one another. I sent out a link today about fresh air and sunshine. Please get out in the fresh air and the sunshine when we get that stuff. It has a curative effect.
All right. So there was a dig from some Anons a while back too saying quarantine meant this and infected meant this and stuff. So he says 3 people in quarantine. This is a base in Australia right around the same time Tom Hanks and them were there. So just a little interesting extra
See
tidbit.
what he has in his hands? He has like a red pill. I think he has a blue.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Red pill, blue pill, the white rabbit, all of those connotations to that. The Matrix, everything else too. No coincidence. He said, I'm going to do this right in front of the white rabbit.
See?
What's
Right
that?
there they are. You can see in the back.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this, and this was one of those things I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So,
And
mhm.
go ahead. All right, Tim. I know Tim looked it up, but you said, Mel, you must have found it. So the next October 30th fall on a Monday is 2028. So 2028, that would be a week before the 2028 presidential election. So again, maybe guys, we got to wait a little bit longer. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But wouldn't that be wild if that happened right before the presidential election, especially because Trump campaigned on that, right? Lock her up. Lock her up. He locks her up, and then he goes into his third term talking about a landslide. Oh my gosh. We'll see what happens. We'll see
And
how
if that happens 8 days after that particular Q drop hits, if it's on in 2028, 8 days later is the United States 2028 election. 8 days.
8 days later, yeah, and that's what I mean. And so that would really
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, gotta love it.
But
Gotta love it.
we'll
And
just
trust me,
keep
we
eating
want-
our popcorn and watching, right?
Yeah.
Going through
And
Q-
HRC's got it coming to her. I have this one video up on my Instagram. Let's play this just for a second. I can't remember how long it is, but let's just play this. Just remind people who we're dealing with here.
For example,
Oh,
Hillary
okay.
Clinton took
Okay,
What you got?
just look at this real quick. What if Q posted the drop with the time? She would be arrested to purposely make her put up her guard up and expose her security networks.
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah, moves and counter moves. And again, and they did that. Think about that too. If they really thought that was going to happen, all their resources go to that. And the next thing they know, they get their caught with their pants down in Saudi Arabia. And Q basically confirms that. I'm not sure what Q drop it is, but later on they do confirm after the arrest that the Hillary Clinton was the misdirection. And then the raid in Saudi Arabia was the real deal. Okay. So let's see. It's a little bit about Hillary here.
money from the Russians to sell American uranium to Russia. She took money from the Saudi Arabians to sell Syria and Yemen to Saudi Arabia and to justify ISIS and protect ISIS. Hillary Clinton is probably the single most corrupt politician in U.S. history since Lyndon Baines Johnson. And as Secretary of State, money would come into the Clinton Foundation and U.S. support would go out. And by the way, the reason we have 1,000 military bases is not for military power. They're lily pads for smuggling. That is how CIA smuggles gold, guns, drugs, cash, and small children for the elites in the United States. War is a profit center, not just for oil. War produces body parts. It produces orphans. It produces all kinds of human goods that can then be trafficked. And the banks rely on war and drugs for their cash flow, for their liquidity. The Clinton Foundation is the biggest organized crime.
I think it started over there. So you get an idea, just a small taste of the things that Hillary is involved in and the things she's done. Again, there's a reason we call her pure evil. That's just a tiny little bit of that. Got plenty of other videos saved on Instagram, other places. I encourage you guys all to make different folders of different things, bookmark stuff, whether it's on X or Instagram. You can make different folders to save different things. General Apex Cybersecurity Command runs parallel to the NSA in the same building at Langley. Langley is Virginia. They monitor all NSA activity at home and abroad. So Cybersecurity Command, which is what Admiral Rogers was a part of. Cybersecurity, and that's the real no such agency, which we'll call Space Force now. We had 17 intelligence agencies. Space Force became the 18th, and then that was the hub to basically catch all these people and transfer operations. Yeah, and the Snow White reference also is a CIA supercomputer, and they have 7 other supercomputers, and they're all named after the 7 dwarves. Just like I was saying, they use names like Alice in Wonderland. They use references like that. The 7 dwarves, all the supercomputers of the CIA are named after them. Dopey, Sleepy, all the different things. And the collective is called Snow White. We also see in the movie Snowden, which was created by Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone also creates Trinity. Lily, what's going on, girl? Shout out. She's doing awesome work on Instagram. Go follow Trinity Eagle Eyes on Instagram. And she's still got her Telegram channel. If you want to drop those channels in there, Trinity, we'll put those up for you. Also, where are we going with this? The CIA supercomputers. Oh, in the movie Snowden. Okay, Oliver Stone also created the movie JFK. He creates the movie Snowden. And in that really interesting part where the guy's meeting the CIA, or Snowden's meeting the CIA guy, And the CIA guy calls him Snow White. Calls him Snow White 3 times in that scene too as well. I almost want to find that now that I mentioned it a little bit later. So Tim's a little tied up. What else we got in Diggers? What did Tim want me to show on Diggers?
Okay, let's go back to Diggers.
Yeah.
And then let's go.
What's this? Chris Wright, Florence Lawrence Berkeley. Is this brand new? 30th today. Oh, 1:57 p.m. Let's take a look at this. 1:57. Let me see here. So there it is, 1:57 p.m. Shout out DJT. Chris Wright, not sure who that is. Quote, a former Lawrence Berkeley National Lab scientist won the Nobel Prize in Physics for his work in quantum physics. Sell down, Mel, sell down. Quantum computing. Along with AI, quantum computing, along with AI and fusion are the 3 signature Trump science efforts. Trump 47 racks up his first Nobel Prize. So Chris Wright is saying that. Okay. So there it is. And that was at 1:57 p.m. I don't know which time zone that is, but shout out DJT. Thank you, brother.
I think there's a General Flynn up there too. If you want to go to that, we could play that for a second.
Yeah, let's do that.
Zoom.
Well, here we go. Let's see what Dad's doing.
Trials here. Right? We're going to face trials here. I know in our country, we're going to face trials here in the coming weeks, coming months. And we don't know. And but when we do, it's this body, because the other side of what we're facing is what Eva talked about. And what we heard earlier, from Ukraine. I mean, the other side of what we're talking about, it doesn't exist. Freedom doesn't exist. Right? Man, I've been all over the world, and I'm telling you, that's why I tell pastors, look, you ought to be talking about politics in our country from the pulpit, because the only reason you can talk from the pulpit about your religion is because of something called the Constitution.
That's right.
So you can't, let's get with it, So I know there's little things, and Trump actually did us all a favor with kind of minimizing the Johnson Act. So that's helpful. But I haven't talked about it, and Don talked about it with what we're already seeing in the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Italy. I mean, across the world, Ukraine, and trying to figure out, because things happen, and then all of a sudden, they begin to happen here. I don't know where we're going to end up. But without fighters, without courageous fighters, and that's kind of, all of you that are in this space. Right? It's courage, it's passion, it's entrepreneurial spirit, it's having that, right? It's doing the right thing. And I forget which one of you talked about, James did. Very, very powerful. He didn't catch it, He basically said Psalm 23, right? Yea, that I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, right? I mean, I've said this before, and I'm stealing a little bit of time here. This country, I used to talk, and I'm doing it for the last number of years, because I've lived it, where I would stand on the edge of a stage with my size 12s halfway over the stage as a metaphor for being on the precipice, right? Being on the cliff. But I don't do that anymore. And I did this the other night up in Wisconsin. I don't do that anymore. I come off the stage, because we're not on the precipice. We are in the valley of the shadow of death. And the way I describe it is I say we have 2 choices. That's it. Not 50 choices. You have 2. One, you can sell your soul, okay, and you can go for the bright light, shiny thing, right? Or you can take the very difficult path, which is a very dim light, and it's a long journey out of that valley. Okay? And I'm getting chills because I have been there. And when you think about just these 4, and of course, others that we've had here represented already, and some of you, but these are people who have been in that valley, and it's like, like my mother would say, get off your knees and get out there. Go do something for yourself, right? I talked about education earlier this morning, verbally. Go do something, right? And so these are people that are warriors, fighters in that valley, and that's like kind of like a good metaphor for where you're at. Because what we're trying to do is that very dim light, that very difficult path, it's going to require a lot of sacrifice to get there in order for us to maintain, from an American perspective, another 250 years of our freedom. Okay? It's not going to...
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, he's live right now. That was that event's on right now as we're doing Qschqql live, brother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of that event?
I forget.
Okay. No
But
worries.
you got
No worries.
Jack Posobic's there, James O'Keefe. What's her name? Laura Logan. She's in there.
Logan. Okay.
General Flynn. Yeah.
Okay. So I see some other posts you got from President Trump meeting Xi. What else you want to show here, brother?
Maybe that Skull and Bones thing there
Okay.
that Melty dropped this morning, and I went right into the Q board. I remember Geronimo and the Q drops, and sure enough, the timestamp has the Skull and Bones 322 in it.
Okay. Nice. Let's check it out.
Let's check
Yeah,
this out.
Yeah, and by the way, again, Qschqql anniversary, not planned, double anniversary. February 23rd, 223 is mirrored, 322. My middle name, Don with Donald Trump there is 33. DON is 33. So a lot of different stuff like that. Mirroring the evil to defeat them. So interesting connections we have with all that. So let's check out this little video about the Skull and Bones. Geronimo is in the Q drops. It's all caps, I think, almost every time. I got to double check. That, of course, was the call sign or the code word when we also took out bin Laden, allegedly took him out, was they would say Geronimo, which it seemed like their whole operation was to kill him, which makes no sense. Why wouldn't you capture a high-value target? But that's a whole other thing, and I know Mel's already itching about that cat as well. What's the other guy's name? We're not going to go out just yet. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. But let's check out this phone.
Geronimo touches my heart because I live in Geronimo's land in the Gilas of New Mexico. So actually homeland, I do have something that Geronimo wrote that's very beautiful. They have a little museum in Aquila Flats where my land is about 9 miles from there. And they have Geronimo's words. And so he wanted to come back home, and it's really heart-wrenching, but also knowing like what happened with George Bush Sr. here, I just have always had a heart for Geronimo. And, I believe we're going to be a part of bringing him home. So that's exciting. Honestly, I really do. He needs to come home, and, I don't know where that is for him yet, but it's here somewhere. And maybe he's already home, but I think that his skull and the story are important to that, and peace and restoration be brought to that whole thing.
Yeah, that we could definitely talk about. So that's the Skull and Bones is supposedly that Skull and Bones secret society, Yale, where Bush and all these people are part of. Supposedly the bones they took were actually from Geronimo. Melzie also talks about, Geronimo it seems like he actually had a network of underground tunnels, like the natives knew the underground tunnels, which you go farther back, that's like their story. They told they were taken inside of Earth to survive the last cataclysm. I'll just leave it at that. But they had this network of tunnels. There was no way they'd be captured. And then they basically captured their wives and children and baited and made them, cowardly, had them come out. But then somehow Geronimo's bones were stolen, and it seems like to be the ones used in this ritual, the Skull and Bones. And that's these people's MO. Anybody that was really a good person, a true spirit, they try to corrupt, or they'll try to take them out. So that's what this is also about. I've heard also Geronimo will be also part of Mount Rushmore, along with I think JFK and maybe Trump on there too also, but Geronimo would be one of those on there also. So let's take a look at this video with the Skull and Bones.
We began exploring the secret oaths our leaders may take. This time we look deeper at the skull beneath the crown. They say the skull belonged to Geronimo. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. What matters isn't whose skull it was, but that there was one, a human being, exhumed, stolen, and placed on an altar inside Yale's most secret society, Skull and Bones. The story goes like this. In 1918, a bonesman wrote a letter bragging that he and his brothers had dug up the skull of the worthy Geronimo the Terrible from his grave at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. One of those men was said to be Prescott Bush, father of George H.W. Bush and grandfather of George W. Bush. 3 generations, 1 senator, 2 presidents, and it began with a grave. The letter exists. The Apache Nation has demanded the remains back. Yale has denied proof, but never opened the tomb to show what's inside. And maybe that tells you everything. Because whether the skull belonged to Geronimo or some other soul, someone's remains were taken, displayed, and celebrated by men who would later shape the destiny of this country. This isn't a plastic Halloween prop. It's a human skull, handled, worshipped, and woven into the rituals of America's most elite. Donald Trump once said, "These are a sick group of people." And maybe he's right. And maybe it's time even the fiercest critics, Democrats, socialists, or anyone who still believes that this is about left and right, starts looking at the evidence for what it is. Because if these men were willing to desecrate the dead for their amusement and ritual, what do you think they're willing to do to the living? This is the sickness beyond the symbols. The same sickness that turns oaths into chains and power into possession. They call it tradition. I call it a warning. My friends, we are all anonymous, and the evidence is there for anyone willing to look.
Both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
We were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
All right, nice video there. Let's see, bring that back up.
Yeah, and I got the Q drop right underneath the video if you want to pull that up.
That's it's 144. Okay, so this is a good Q drop here.
Yep.
There's a term in here. I can't remember which one is the first time we see it, or one of the first ones we see. So Q drop 144. Now we're on November 12th. So 11/12, 2:52:34 p.m. Eastern timestamp. Patriots don't sleep. 40,000 foot view necessary to understand United States, Saudi Arabia global events. Paint the picture. Decrease altitude. We will not fly that high again. Higher the altitude, greater the risk of conspiracy. ST. I know back in the Qschqql days, I'd always ask what people's ideas on ST was. I got one answer one time that seemed good, and I can't remember what it was. Anybody else have any ideas? What?
No, it's just Matthew.
Okay, so higher. Anyways, you guys have any guesses what ST might be there? I've always kind of wondered what that one is. Many cannot and will not swallow. What is no such agency? Q group. There is literally a Q group. Part of NSA, National Security Agency, has a Q group. By the way, on the movie Snowden, I believe it's at 1 hour and 7 minutes into the movie, or maybe 1 hour 17, when he's in the SUV, the black SUV is rolling by, and on the radio in the vehicle, it's playing, and you hear the word Q group on there. Who has clearance to full picture? This would be Q clearance Patriots. Important. SIS is good. Okay, SIS is like the FBI of the UK, which is odd, but it's also, I think it means signals intelligence something. So I'm not quite sure what that is there. ADMR with a plus, plus, plus. This is why I always say there's multiple meanings with these all kinds of abbreviations. Most people say plus, plus, plus is House of Sod, which it is. But this right here shows me that ADMR is also a plus, plus, plus. Generally, we say that's Admiral Rogers. But again, there could be multiple meanings. Why is it ADMR? Why don't they say Admiral Rogers? Okay, plus, plus, plus. What agency is at war with the clowns in America? Clowns in America stands for CIA. Now, this is like the big picture. You know, it's way more complicated and convoluted to just make it simple. But you could say the NSA, the good guys, versus the CIA, the bad guys. But it's way more complicated than that. And I think this was even misdirection by Q. I think they shocked them all by that. They maybe dissolved the NSA and used the CIA to complete the plan. And of course, Space Force took over the rest of those agencies also. So they really weren't expecting this at all. Okay, but again, there's good people that are in the NSA. There's bad people in the NSA. There's good people in the CIA, and there's bad people in the CIA. But the overall CIA was certainly a detriment to the United States of America. That's who came over. The Nazi scientist, Project Paperclip, that became the CIA, the FBI, NASA, all these Nazi scientists and stuff. And then the CIA was so secretive, just like, again, our founding fathers were most fearful of, that they became corrupt to no end, right? Because they had no regulation or oversight. So that's why the president has special approval powers and special powers that were granted them by the Constitution, the founding fathers, knowing our certain government agencies would become corrupt over time, especially the more secretive they were. Okay. So what agency is at war with the clowns in America? That'd be the NSA, we say generally. How does POTUS shift narrative? How does he shift the narrative? He does multiple different things. New age of enlightenment, 80% covert, 20% public. Tim talks about this quite a bit, right? Most of this operation is actually being played out in the shadows in the dark. Small stuff leaks out for us. They give us crumbs to connect the dots, but really we have no idea what's really going on out there. What has occurred over the last several months? You also see this as another way to Q is teaching us how to read the Q drops in different ways. These brackets have a message too. U.S. risk. This one is the. It keeps going here, but I'll keep reading. So what has occurred over the last several months? Classified info leaks, operations. Think Saudi Arabia plus question marks. CNN sale. Was CNN sold around this time? I don't remember that. What companies received large cash injections by clowns in America? This is public information. Okay, like I was saying, we know the social media giants were getting some of that because, as I talked yesterday, that the social media channels were starting to censor patriots and remove their channels. And some of them have big followings, which means loss of revenue for YouTube and these other places. So the clowns, the CIA with their slush funds, would give these social media giants money to counteract the revenue they are losing by censoring people, because the CIA, their main role is to keep the narrative. They had to be in control of the narrative. Operation Mockingbird, Project Mockingbird. Okay, those are two different things, by the way. Why? Who does it hurt? Who controls the mainstream media? It would be the CIA, used to be, but now it's the White Hats. Primary objective from beginning. POTUS, discredit the mainstream media. Okay, I've talked about that several times. There it is directly in the Q drop. POTUS's primary objective, discredit the mainstream media. The irony is they used to be the ones that used the term fake news. The fake news media used that term prior to Trump. Then he took over that term and spun it back to them, just like we're doing. We're mirroring them to defeat the evil. All right, and he's done an excellent job at that as he won by a landslide, despite all the negative kofifi, as Mel says. Why is this relevant? How is information transmitted? Okay, different ways, right? We could do comms and codes. Here we are with the Q drops directly to the American people, bypassing the mainstream media. How are people informed? Why was Sarah A. Carter attacked? Hack attempt. Why'd they go AC there, though? That's odd to me also. Why was Operation Mockingbird repeated? Why was Jason Bourne, CIA, and Deep Dream repeated? Think social media platforms. I always think this was just such an interesting next sentence. It took me a couple of years to kind of unravel it. Basically, Jason Bourne is a super soldier program. Think social media platforms. Well, if we have Project Looking Glass and other things, and we can see in the future that we're going this technological age, AI age, why wouldn't you make geek super soldiers, for a lack of a better term, is training kids from birth. You know, they'd be still athletic and learn they'd be all the programming, but they would be on these social medias and knowing how to code and everything else on the on your, you know, what do you call it? Cyber type of stuff, right? Your cyber super soldiers, so to speak. Okay. Who are the wizards and warlocks? All right. That's part of actually the National Reconnaissance Office, highly secretive organization. Of course, at the NSA, they call themselves the wizards and warlocks. This is how we hide and code information, because you're working at the NSA. Your inside term is we're the wizards and the warlocks. You're at a secret agency. You think you're the top dog. No, guess what? We have an even more secret agency. That's called the Wizards and Warlocks. What council do the Wizards and Warlocks control? I'm not quite sure on that one, honestly. Think Snowden. Inside terms dropped. Okay, this is the first time we heard these things like no such agency, Wizards and Warlocks, from the movie Snowden, created by Oliver Stone. Alice in Wonderland, understood. Snow White, understood. We just talked about that. The supercomputer was Snow White. There's another meaning there. I mean, there's always double, triple meanings. There was even an operation called Snow White. L. Ron Hubbard, the creator of Scientology, was involved with an operation called Snow White. Iron Eagle. Okay, the double meanings there. That's the logo. It's the eagle that the Nazis also used. But Iron Eagle is a movie where somebody's father's loses his father, and he's a military and he's a pilot. Godfather 3, another movie. Speed, another movie. Everything has meaning. Disney is a distraction. By the way, in the movie Speed, it was if you went above 55 miles an hour, the bomb was activated. When it dropped below 55, then it would blow up. Everything has meaning. Disney is a distraction. Senate and Congress equals puppets, not all, power shift, for God and country, for humanity, Geronimo. Q. There's Geronimo writing the Q drop. Thanks for that one, Tim.
I also put, I don't know if you want to go to Diggers, but I did put in the letter that Geronimo wrote to the White Fathers in Washington, asking them to come home and be restored. It's very touching. And then I put a picture of his grave in there. Somebody sent it to me once. And I put a picture also of an arrowhead that I found on my land. When I went to go live there, I smudged the four corners. And I asked the grandfathers.
What does that mean, in case people don't understand that? Just a brief little, what does that mean?
I took sage and I went and saged each corner.
So sage does cleanse stuff. Palo Alto also will keep away different spirits and stuff. Y'all haven't figured we're in a spiritual warfare yet. I would encourage y'all to, use some of that stuff. I can start using it, but smudging. And then what's the four corners, Mel?
So there's directionals, in Native American beliefs. It's everything is the four is sacred. So you have four directions, right? So there's spirits that live in each direction, and the grandfathers and grandmothers do there too. So
our ancestors.
Smudge the four. Yes, I smudged the four corners, and then I was coming down for the first time with my little camper. I had no idea where to put it, and I dropped it wherever I could because there was so much mesquite in there. And I just started to kind of walk, and I was live on chat. And I stopped and I looked around and I looked down, and there was that arrowhead right there.
Just sitting right there. Beautiful arrowhead. Wow. Yeah. Awesome. And then, so you're saying four corners, like the four directions then, or were you actually in the four corners of the United States?
No, I mean the four directions.
Okay.
So when you would do a blessing, you would go to the four corners and you would thank the four corners.
Okay.
And then you would thank Mother Earth and Father, God or creation.
Yeah.
So, and animals live in different, like their spirits and creation. Like the plants live, like let's say there's a plant that lives more in the south, or there's birds that live more in the south. So it's a different perspective. And so anyways, that was a blessing to me. I felt that I had permission to come, and I knew I was coming to Geronimo's land because there's an Indian reservation right there that has this letter that's in it.
Awesome.
And so anyways, if you want to read that, I think it'd be a nice conclusion to Geronimo, because we're going to help him come home.
Yeah. And it's, we're connected to certain things. It's not by accident, guys. Again, our deep connections to the Q-Post. Mel is literally living on Geronimo's land, essentially, right in that neck of the woods. And then Geronimo's in the Q-Drops, and we got 71 in Rumble right now. All these things or I guess on both Rumble and on YouTube. Thanks for watching on YouTube, guys. Again, make sure you send that channel out to your friends and family. Make sure you like and follow if you aren't already. We appreciate it. So here's this beautiful message about Geronimo. And this connects to the skull and bones and everything too, guys. All right. In 1906, Geronimo said, "I'm thankful that the President of the United States has given me permission to tell my story. I hope that he and those in authority under him will read my story and judge whether my people have been rightly treated." And I've heard a while back, guys, too, that Trump actually gave the land back to the natives. Even GeoHawk was talking about that. Basically all the United States stuff is this contract that's we agree to essentially, but the land is still, again, God bless this land and its people. So let's see. I hope that permission to tell my story. Hope that he and those in authority under him will read my story and judge whether my people have been rightly treated. There is a great question between the Apaches and the government. For 20 years, we have been held prisoners of war under a treaty which was made with General Miles on the part of the United States government and myself as a representative of the Apaches. That treaty has not at all times been properly observed by the government, although at the present time it is being more nearly fulfilled on their part than heretofore. In the treaty with General Miles, we agreed to go to a place outside of our homeland and learn to live as the white people do. I think that my people are now capable of living in accordance with the laws of the United States, and we would, of course, like to have the liberty to return to that land which is ours by divine right. We are reduced in numbers, and having learned how to cultivate the soil, would not require so much ground as was formerly necessary. We do not ask all of the land which the Almighty gave us in the beginning, but that we may have sufficient lands there to cultivate. What we do not need, we are glad for the white man to cultivate. We are now held on Comanche and Kiowa lands, which are not suited to our needs. These lands and this climate are suited to the Indians who originally inhabited this country, of course, but our people are decreasing in numbers here and will continue to decrease unless they are allowed to return to their native land. Such a result is inevitable. There is no climate or soil which, to my mind, is equal to that of our homeland. We could have plenty of good cultivating land, plenty of grass, plenty of timber, and plenty of minerals in that land which the Almighty created for the Apaches. It is my land, my home, my father's land, to which I now ask to be allowed to return. I want to spend my last days there and be buried among those mountains. If this could be, I might die in peace, feeling that my people, placed in their native homes, would increase in numbers rather than diminish as at present, and that our name would not become extinct. I know that if my people were placed in that mountainous region, lying around the headwaters of the Gila River, they would live in peace and act according to the will of the president. They would be prosperous and happy in tilling the soil and learning the civilization of the white men whom they now respect. Could I but see this accomplished, I think I could forget all the wrongs that have ever received, and die a contented, happy old man. But we can do nothing in this matter ourselves. We must wait until those in authority choose to act. If this cannot be done during my lifetime, if I must die in bondage, I hope that the remnant of the Apache tribe, when I am gone, be granted the one privilege which they request, to return to our homeland. And it says here, Arizona is the word the translator and or editor used, but there's no word in Chiricahua Apache language for Arizona. The original statement was dictated to the Sriracha. How do you say that word, Mel?
Chiricahua.
Forgive me for mispronouncing. Chiricahua Apache language. So the word Arizona, we substitute our homeland. All right.
So Chiricahua means Arizona.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Chiricahua. That's what I had to ask too how to say it. I didn't know. But that's what they are, is the Chiricahua Apaches.
Good. Checking over on Instagram. Y'all got some good comments flowing over there, guys. Trying to peek in, but sometimes I get distracted, miss what my friends are saying if I check on the comments too much. Trying to stay engaged here.
Back, I don't know if you want to pull up. There's Geronimo's grave there, and then that's in, I think, Missouri or something, because that's where he passed. Is right there.
Okay.
It doesn't say where. It's like Fort Sill or something.
Fort Sill, yeah. And there's Geronimo.
And then, so.
Fort Sill, SILL, 2009. Last visit with Geronimo.
And then my land is right there if you wanted to see it.
There's the land, the beautiful mountains on the ley lines. Like all indigenous sacred sites are connected to the powerful ley lines of the earth. Well, that's a cool shot with the fire. Burning the mesquite. Mesquite's a type of wood, right, Mel?
Yeah, it's, I don't know what they call it, but it's wood and it has really thick thorns on it. So, and it's very strong roots. You have to excavate the roots. So first you burn it, and then you have to dig out the roots and then burn the roots. And it takes like maybe 3 or 4 burns to get rid of it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, but it's very, like the Apache could eat the beans from it, were high in protein, and they can make into a tea. So the mesquite bush is actually very useful. Okay.
Looks like Tim's having struggling a little bit. Not feeling well. Badlands Devolution. Do we have that video somewhere? Okay. Thanks, buddy. Hope you're feeling better. Love you, brother.
Yeah, I hope you get feeling better.
He got hit by something.
Or, we could maybe shut it down because we're about 2 hours, and we could, maybe do a 2-hour show today. Wouldn't that be great? Do we have any? I mean, I'm serious, like we could.
Yeah. Just looking to see anything miss. President Xi. This 12-minute video on Hillary Clinton also. Maybe we could just close with that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Because there's a lot with Hillary, and we
Yeah.
can't go into it all. She's kind of an Alice in Wonderland deep dive into herself, and it's not fun to go down that rabbit hole, to tell you the truth of her.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, truth does need to be known. So I encourage you guys to do your own research on her, and and know that it's going to be hard. It hurts your heart.
Yeah.
But that girl's going down. She ain't gonna be
She's
here.
going down for sure.
She
Let's
married
see.
me down.
Arctic Frost investigation. Yeah, I guess if we're gonna try to keep it under 2 hours, we'll kind of meet in Japan. Trump's doing such awesome things. Hurricane Melissa. So y'all kind of know some of that stuff. South Korea, some of these other videos. What's our timestamp at? 150. All right. So should we do the Clinton thing right now?
Yep.
And then I'll look for that Badlands if we have time to play that. Okay, so this will be heavy stuff, but it's going to cover a really nicely well done job of the pure evil that is Hillary Clinton. I want to do an actual whole video on, basically executing her in front of the public's eye by just showing everything that she's about. So y'all prayer warriors out there, put on your full armor of God here. We're going to go into some Hillary Clinton stuff. This is from a Instagram page. I've bookmarked and stuff to play this, so we'll try to zoom and make it as big as possible, but dimensions will be a little bit off, but it's still good information. All right, here we go.
We were going to say thank you to Anthony Weiner.
The FBI is reopening its investigation into Hillary Clinton's email scandal. The Wall Street Journal reports 650,000 emails are sitting on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Thousands of those may involve Clinton's server, since Weiner was married to Clinton's top aide when she was Secretary of State.
To cover up her crimes, she bleached and deleted 33,000 emails after receiving a congressional subpoena.
A computer used by former Congressman Anthony Weiner and his estranged wife, Huma Abedin, is now the focus of new inquiries into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Sources have told the Wall Street Journal's Devlin Barrett that there could be as many as 650,000 emails on the computer, with underlying metadata suggesting that thousands of those messages could have been sent to or from the private server that Mrs. Clinton used while she was Secretary of State. Why is this one laptop now so significant?
Anthony Weiner's laptop were ever released, the government would fall. Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it.
It was seized from Weiner as part of an investigation into whether he sent sexually charged emails to a teenage minor. The laptop hadn't previously come up in the Clinton email probe.
Did he know that you were only 15 years old?
Yes, he did.
Her age was no deterrent for Carlos Danger. In an exclusive interview with Inside Edition, this minor says she first sent disgraced Queens Congressman Anthony Weiner a message on Twitter back in January 2016, when she was just 15 years old.
I just sent him a nice message, just, hello, I'm a huge fan.
She says she wanted to see if he was up to his old antics during last year's presidential election. Turned out he was.
I knew that it was going downhill and really fast.
She says the messages from the Democrat quickly turned obscene.
I was disgusted. That's part of the reason that I came forward.
At the time, Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, was helping run Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. The FBI's investigation of Weiner's laptop led to the discovery of a new batch of emails that Clinton had sent to Abedin. That led former FBI Director James Comey to reopen the investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State, just days before the presidential election.
Inside Edition says it's withholding the girl's name because she's underage, but her father gave permission for her face to be shown. Weiner went on to plead guilty to a charge of transferring obscene material to a minor.
Just striking about this is that, announcement from James Comey in October of 2016, kind of saying that the investigation was being reopened here. Some people say that cost Hillary Clinton the election itself. But when we look at that incident and, not with all this other information we have, what jumps out to you about that?
That was Comey trying to cover Comey because they knew they hadn't done what they should have done with the Weiner laptop, and the New York Police Department officers who were honest were going to disclose all that. He just simply had to do it to try to save his own skin.
Because of Weinergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it. Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop and sure enough found those 650,000 emails they found way more stuff than just the more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing.
675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary.
They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times. The amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, by her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting. They gave it to the FBI, and they said, we're going to go public with this if you don't reopen the investigation, if you don't do the right thing with timely indictments.
We're not talking about 1 or 2 emails. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of emails.
NYPD was the first one to look at that laptop.
I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
Somebody sent it to me. I would not advise you to have a look at it. She and her spokeswoman, they put a 5-year-old girl naked on a table, bind it, and then with a scalpel they start to remove the face.
Oh my God.
And you hear this child screaming, and they take off the face, and Hillary Clinton puts it on her face and goes to the child. And you see, the child is all flesh, and then the eyes pour out, and this child sees her own face on the face of Clinton. I will never forget that image, and never the scream. That's how evil these people are.
Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing, and all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops.
There were a total of 12 individuals who saw Anthony Weiner's laptop computer. 9 of those 12 people are dead now.
Some sad news tonight. Another New York City police officer has taken his life. The second NYPD suicide in 2 days.
Well, Corey Tampson, with the latest suicide, the 8th this year, the 6th just the last 2 months alone.
Another New York Police Department officer has died by suicide, becoming the 9th to do so this year. According to a law enforcement official, the 56-year-old officer was off duty and at home. On Tuesday, another law enforcement official told CNN that an 8th officer had died by suicide, a 35-year-old.
Robert Echeverria died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at home last night. The 25-year veteran officer's suicide came a little more than 24 hours after a 35-year-old officer took his own life. Commissioner James O'Neill is still struggling with the news.
You think that, okay, this is going to be the last one, and last night got a phone call, and it just almost knocked me down. It just took the wind right out of me. I just, what the hell's going on here?
So far this year, there have been 9 NYPD suicides, 7 since June. Last year, there were a total of 4.
We don't know why Nick did what he did.
Doug Budney's son Nick, a 14-year NYPD officer, took his own life last year.
I just think it was a bad last decision.
Another NYPD officer has just died by suicide. It's the 10th suicide so far this year. News 4's Gus Rosendale is live at the site of the shooting in Queens. Gus, what can you tell us?
Yes, Rena, that officer was pronounced dead at Queens General Hospital just a few minutes ago, and now a number of other officers are here trying to figure out exactly what happened. This is the scene at 178th and Union Turnpike in Utopia, Queens. Little known about who this officer was and the circumstances surrounding this. Again, we just know this was an off-duty officer with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was rushed to the hospital where he passed away just a short while ago. Now, leading up to this, as you mentioned, there have been 9 previous suicides by active members of the NYPD happening this year in 2019.
Now that is a strange coincidence. Anthony Weiner is alive. Weiner shared the laptop with his estranged wife, Huma Abedin, a close aide to Hillary Clinton since 2000.
NYPD chief commits suicide 1 month before retiring, was directly involved in Anthony Weiner laptop computer evidence handling. A high-ranking New York City Police Department officer has died from an alleged self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Deputy Chief Stephen Silks was found in an unmarked patrol car wearing civilian clothes Wednesday evening, just 1 month before he would turn 63 and face mandatory retirement. He allegedly shot himself in the head, with the gun reportedly discovered beside him. He was very closely and heavily involved in the investigation of the laptop seized from the former Congressman Anthony Weiner, which allegedly held volumes of Hillary Clinton email evidence on it. A fellow officer told the New York Daily News that Silks was deeply committed to the job. Silks reportedly submitted his mandatory retirement paperwork the day before. Other sources, however, say that the deputy chief was heavily involved in the sex crimes investigations of former Democrat Congressman Anthony Weiner, and that the chief personally oversaw the evidence gathering from a laptop computer seized from Weiner in that investigation. The laptop is alleged to have contained numerous emails from Hillary Clinton during her time as Secretary of State and numerous files in a folder titled Insurance Policy, which reportedly contained extraordinary details about child sex rings operated by and for use of high-ranking government officials nationwide. Ultimately, that laptop had to be turned over by NYPD to the FBI, who allegedly lost it. Rumors have circled for years that NYPD top brass took copies of the hard drive because they were suspicious of the feds in general and wanted to make certain that the evidence was preserved. One high-ranking NYPD official at the time the laptop was seized told media outlets he was sickened by what he saw on that computer, and if the feds did not pursue the necessary investigations, he would reveal what the laptop contained. It is now believed that Deputy Chief Silks was that official. No one is confirming or denying that information at this time. So, Deputy Chief Silks was one of the now 10 officers, and he allegedly was the one who oversaw the information on the Anthony Weiner laptop and made copies. Who else made copies? And who else has the information? Was it suicide? Probably not.
So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop.
Anthony Weiner's laptop were ever released, the government would fall. Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it. It was filled with crap that wasn't supposed to be there. We never get to see it. Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops. You know, it's like the 5 cops who died after January 6th, right? 4 of them were suicides. According to AI, there were about 80 cops really in the thick of things. 4 of them died from suicide.
All right. There it is. Pure evil. Pure evil on display. So y'all got a taste of it. I know many of you guys know some of that
hard.
stuff.
I mean, it's, like, that's a hard subject to go into. I remember hearing about Frazzle Drip, and I couldn't imagine it. And it's hard to hear every time. So, but it needs to be like that. That's why we fight, because the children, the innocents that had no voice, right? This can be no more. We're never going to let them do this to our children again.
Yeah. I saw you asked about kill switches.
What does that mean? He kept saying
right?
there were
what
separate.
I understand about is, like, if certain things are exposed, then like other things get released and people get killed and literally like murdered. Kind of, it's like that's their insurance too, right? Like, supposedly McAfee had like a kill switch where if they tried to kill him, this would be released and XYZ things would be exposed and stuff. So I don't know exactly, but I know it's something along those kind of lines.
It's just strange coincidence that all those men who investigated that laptop ended up dead. And if what is, I mean, I don't believe that Sidney Powell is lying, right?
Right.
You know, she's a JAG lawyer.
Yeah, she built a reputation on being an awesome prosecutor and integrity and everything else, you know. And then when she tells the truth that the fake news cabal or the cabal doesn't like, then she gets attacked and all this other nonsense, right? As well.
Yeah, what was that other guy's name? David Steele, Robert David Steele talked about it as well. Wasn't he a judicial advisory or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, military. I mean, he was on those kind of boards and stuff for sure.
Something,
Yeah.
I think, and he talks about it. So I don't think those two people are lying, and whatever that woman saw, it confirms what was on that, and I know that it's out there, but I hope I never ever watch it. Yeah, I don't plan to, but it's not something that I intend to do. But there's things out there that, when we're on social media, sometimes it pops up and it's hard to unsee it, and it keeps you up at night, So that's the way it is with this, and that was part of why patriots never sleep, why we do what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it is for real. It's good to have those reminders sometimes for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. So I think we're going to about wrap it up now. Thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know anything else to add now.
Yeah, I am and I'm not. I mean, it's emotional, but it's also thank God for Q and taking this down, right? Because I believe that she's probably already been detained. Personally, that's what I believe, even though it hasn't been announced. We have that video of her coming down and being stuffed and cuffed into the back of I think we watched it 2 days ago, and into that van or whatever. So I think a lot of high-end figures have been dealt with, but it's still difficult to go through, those things that we see and that touch our heart. And especially when you're an empath, that's why we're warriors, because we feel that. So I can't help it. I cry, guys. Sorry.
Okay, what's what we love about you, Mel? That's what we love about you. So let's actually show her getting stuff in the van. Maybe that'll give some people some peace. Let's just show this heinous woman what's up.
Video of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton stumbling as she left the 9/11 commemoration in New York City this morning. A statement from Clinton's campaign says she felt overheated and she went to her daughter's apartment to get her bearings. Let's watch this video for a second. There you see her apparently almost falling, but caught by people, presumably Secret Service agents around her. A little while ago, we saw Hillary Clinton leave her daughter's apartment building and wave to reporters and onlookers, looking much better than she does in the video we're showing you right now. She didn't have much to say just now, but you can listen to apparently almost falling, but caught by people, presumably Secret Service.
How would you say captured?
Yeah, that was his first. He knew what was going on. He had to report.
Well, that's right. Yeah, media's, and we've been in control of them, I believe, even longer than we realize. Also, which is wild to think, this whole thing kind of messes with your head a little bit. Yeah,
it does when we realize that, and it had to be this way. Like a lot of people be like, "Why don't they just tell the truth?" Well, we are the disclosure, you guys.
Yeah,
we are, and so just know that it's like a horse that'll come to water and ask questions. Don't think you can stuff like Sasquatch red pills like I do. I mean, truly, we need to just let them come to us and ask questions, and maybe don't give them all the answers, give them just little bits, so then they start thinking. It's little bits of milk. A baby needs a little bit of milk often. I got to take my own advice here.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I kind of want to, I think we'll end on more of a high note. We'll play that, the same closing we did yesterday with the Scotty Marr, because that song isn't copyrighted. I couldn't even find it on the Shazam. It's, Jesus, what's the name of it? Jesus Walks.
I like that. That was really
good. We'll play that. We'll play that to close out, end on a high note, end it fun. Always good to do that too. Like take some of the stuff in small doses. If you're new to it, God is always, guiding you as well too. So if you've come across that information, I didn't know what it was on that video. So some of that's definitely heavy stuff. But, when you learn that, you're going to go through it, feel the emotions, cry, all the things. And then I always encourage them, get back on to move your body too, walk around, exercise, but then if you can laugh a little bit also, or something to lift your spirits back up. And that really gives you more capacity to love even more when you deal with all this darkness, this heartbreak, all these other heavy things. The more you can deal with that, the more that expands your ability to love more as well also. So that's kind of a beautiful thing to look at in the big picture of things. But you got to deal with these emotions. And then because if you repress them, then you're going to have, other things get clogged up like your health and whatnot too. So make sure y'all deal with it if you need to talk to people, but take it in small doses. And then, like I said, I recommend moving the body and then also find a way to laugh or get something upbeat afterwards too. So
that's good advice.
That's what it's all about. So we'll play this video on Scotty Marr to close out and end on a high note. Any last words, Mel?
No, just thank you guys. Exciting
Thanks, guys.
times. So grateful to be here with all of you.
Yeah. Send Tim some love and prayers too. He's wasn't feeling good all of a sudden, and him and Matthew. So hopefully he'll be okay, and we'll see him tomorrow. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow as well. Friday the 31st, end of October, end of Red October, and was the Day of the Dead, or is that the Halloween, all that stuff? So anyways, also Nevada's birthday. I think it'll be 261 tomorrow. I got to double check. But anyways, love y'all. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Love, love, love.
The Cheongnam Gold Crown symbolizes the divine connection between the authority of the heavens and sovereignty on earth, as well as the strong leadership and authority of a leader.
경주를 국비대로 차리신 우리 트럼프 대통령님께 한반도의 최고로 평화를 가져온 신라의 정신과 함께 한미 동맹의 푸른 길을 상징하는 이 금관을 선물로 준비하였습니다.
We present this gold crown to you on this joyous occasion of your state visit to Gyeongju, because it symbolizes the spirit of Shilla, which brought peace to the Korean Peninsula for the first time, and the opening of the golden age of the Korea-U.S. alliance.
We at war. We at war with terrorism, racism. But most of all, we at war with ourselves. Jesus walk. God showed me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Jesus walks with the only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me. Jesus walk. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrongs. Jesus walks with I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. Jesus walk. God showed me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Jesus walks with the only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. Jesus walk. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrongs. Jesus walks with I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. You know what the Midwest is? Young and restless. Where wrestlers might snatch your necklace, and next these guys might jack your Lexus. Somebody tell these cats who Kanye West is. I walk through the valley of the shadow where death is. Top 5 rappers, you gotta rewind the list. Strippers in the club when you mind your business. The song got a bonus feature, it's the Holy Spirit. But the radio is scared of a record with Jesus in it. They be playing guns, drugs, and all that stripper is. Take an ignorant guess and they'll say he's religious. But the hustlers, killers, murderers, drug dealers, even the strippers, to the victims of welfare, feel we living in hell here. Hell yeah, I'm on my way. I'm seeing the G's, I'm seeing the B's, and I'm seeing the D's. On my way to the top of the G-O-D, and I'ma be there for a while if you don't believe. So I gotta say it that I'm afraid to say on the radio. Jesus walks. God showed me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Jesus walks with the only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. Jesus walks. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrongs. Jesus walks with I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. To the slave soldiers, I ain't talking about the footwear, but the ones that died for this country that we have. To the hustlers, that's if you're still living, getting money legally. I'm never going to hell, I'm never going to jail. And if you are, then I'm praying for you, I'm saying for you. They said you can rap about anything except for Jesus. That means guns, sex, lies, videotapes. But if I talk about God, my record won't get played, huh? Well, if this take away from my spins, which will probably take away from my ends, then I hope this take away from my sins and bring the day that I'm dreaming about. Next time I'm in the club, everybody screaming out, Jesus walks. God show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Jesus walks with me. The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. Jesus walks. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrong. Jesus walks with me. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. Jesus walks. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. Jesus walks with me. So long, so long, so long. Jesus walks. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. Jesus walks with me. So long, so long. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death by myself, and I'm not afraid cause my faith is my wealth. Are you kidding me? A black man with a college degree, I'm like a unicorn in the middle of the street. And the G's, the B's, the D's, they'll be after me. The cops, the crooked cops, they'll be after me. I got a record deal, but I'm still in the street with the same cats that I was with last week. The same cats that would take your life and say peace. We are all sinners, we are all saints, and we are all winners, but we are all fake. We are all living, but we are all dying. So I'm not preaching, but I'm just speaking. And if you feel it, then won't you help me say, Jesus walks. God show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down. Jesus walks with me. The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. Jesus walks. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to right my wrong. Jesus walks with me. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid cause we ain't spoken so long. Jesus walks. Jesus walks. Jesus walks.
But even during this period of a little bit of a period of transition, you could go, because I think we're in an economic revolution in America.
Economic revolution in America like we've never seen before. Golden age of America is upon us, boys and girls. Get excited. Get excited. Love, love, love. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.